already. Well, first of all, I want to express my deep appreciation to the county commissioners, to the mayor and city council, and to the members of the airport authority. This is a great honor for me. Since I left the White House, I've seen other presidents honored. President Ronald Reagan now has his name on the National Airport in Washington, and George H.W. Bush has his name on the International Airport in Houston. And now I have this one, which is much more precious to me because it's among home folks, and because I have deep roots here, which has already been mentioned a couple of times. Also, I want to thank the people that started the letter campaign. Although it seemed to be negative for some people, I thought it was good because I got more publicity out of this naming than President Reagan or Ford got out, President Bush got out of there. So I'm really grateful to them. I'm going to talk just a minute about my roots in this community. Wiley Carter was my great-great-grandfather. And as George has already pointed out, one of his sons was Little Barry Walker Carter, who went off to fight in the war between the states. And when he came back home, he bought this land where the airport is. And that's where my granddaddy was raised. I've always known that, because when I came home from the Navy in 1953, two of the daughters of Little Barry Walker Carter came to my Uncle Alton, who was my daddy's brother, and said that their daddy was buried in what was now pasture, and hogs and cows were in there, and they wanted my Uncle Alton to do something about it. My Uncle Alton wasn't very free in giving away his money. So he called me and asked me if I would be an equal partner with him in bearing the cost of the movement of these two bodies from the airport into the cemetery. And we shared the cost. And the bodies of my great-granddaddy and my great-grandmother were dug up and buried next to their oldest son, who was my grandfather's brother. My daddy was in the Army in 1918. He was a first lieutenant. And Woodrow Wilson was his commanding officer. Later, I served in the military. And I was in the Second World War and the Korean War. In fact, with the exception of Dwight Eisenhower, since the Civil War, I've served more time in the military than any other president. A fact of which I'm very proud. And I was also proud during the Vietnam War, when my oldest son quit college at Georgia Tech and volunteered to go to Vietnam. So we've had a history of military service and enjoying the benefits of a great and free nation. And I would say that if you drew a circle around Sutherfield, not too far away, my great-granddaddy, my great-great-granddaddy, my grandfather, my father, and in the future I will be buried close to this airport. So you can see what it means to me. I was here not long ago for the ceremony naming the building after Brown Hodges. And I was overwhelmed with gratitude that they had honored Brown Hodges, because I don't know that, I'm not sure that Major Souther was ever here. He may have been here, but he helped design the airport. And I did a few things. When I was governor, I got a few dollars for the airport, and when I was president, I helped one time with the FAA, as requested by Brown Hodges, who has done infinitely more than any other human being to make sure that this airfield is what it is now. So when I heard that they were contemplating naming the airport for me, I wrote a note to the mayor and asked him to reconsider, because I didn't want anything to detract from the honor of Brown Hodges, my friend. Brown Hodges was a lifetime friend of mine. He and I went to Georgia Southwestern together, and he and I and Jenny and Rosen have been the grandparents of his same daughter, and now the great-grandparents of a little daughter. So you can see how much I was reluctant to take anything away from Brown. I called Jenny, and she said it thought it would be good because it was just a building that was named for Brown. I didn't really realize that. And so I told the mayor and the council to go ahead with it. Well, I don't want to take anything away from Major Souther. As was already pointed out, I'm an engineer too, and I like to see engineers honored. But I might say that, kind of to summarize, he's been honored for a long time, 92 years or so. And I think it would be appropriate to have a historic marker, put here. And I'm sure that the fervent friends of Mayor Souther, who have communicated with the news media and with me so much, would be delighted to pay the cost of the memorial plaque. But he and his family enjoyed this honor for more than 90 years, and maybe for the next 20 or 30 or 50 years before they decide to change again, my family can share the honor. I'm deeply grateful, and I hope that everything we do can bear witness to the true historic uniqueness of this fine center of the community within which I and my family have lived for so long. Thank you all very much.
Well, what else is there to say? That concludes our program. We appreciate everyone being here.